Hey everybody, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. And what would a tribute to China be without talking about dragons? And as I stated a while ago, around Asia, dragons are friendly guardians and symbols of peace. And in my opinion, dragons are the coolest and most mystical creatures in Chinese mythology. Plus, I think they're pretty underrated when it comes to animated films, like, for example, Disney's Mulan, along with Raya and the Last Dragon, and of course, Dragon Ball. However, for today's episode, I'd like to look at a Netflix movie from last year, which was produced by Sony, and share my thoughts about it. So, released to Netflix on June 11th, 2021, the movie is Wish Dragon. Now, on for the plot of the movie. Din is a working-class college student from Shanghai with big dreams but small means. One day, Din is given a jade teapot by an elderly man, from which emerges Long, a cynical but all-powerful dragon capable of granting wishes, and hopes to become free and enter the spirit world. Together, the two set off on a hilarious adventure through modern-day Shanghai in pursuit of Din's long-lost childhood friend, Lena. Their journey forces them to answer some of life's biggest questions, because when you can wish for anything, you have to decide what really matters. Now, my thoughts on the movie? Well, compared to the other two Sony films that were released to Netflix last year, which were Vivo and The Mitchells vs. the Machines, well, in my opinion, Wish Dragon is a good movie, and it was pretty funny, but at the same time, it was a bit too predictable. And to further explain why I think so, let's move on to Mustang notes. Now, Wish Dragon was the first film by Sony Pictures Animation to be produced by Base Animation, a new animation studio that is part of the VFX firm Base FX, and also the first to feature visual effects and animation provided by George Lucas's Industrial Light and Magic, who also animated Rango and Strange Magic. The goal of the film and the Base Animation Studio is to make world-class animation in China for China and the world itself. Director Chris Applehans wanted the film made in China with a strong mainland China creative team, an international cast of talent, and a focus on the hopes and dreams of contemporary China. Also to note, martial arts master Jackie Chan served as one of the film's producers. As for the animation itself, well, in my opinion, I really like how Sony, Base FX, and ILM work together with their CGI. While the several characters look really great and pretty clean, a few others are a little cartoony, in my opinion. Plus, I really love how they depicted Shanghai. It almost reminds me of San Francisco from Big Hero 6. As for the story itself, well, I can't go too harsh on it since this is Chris Applehan's directorial debut, and he was also responsible for the movie's screenplay. But keep in mind that this movie is technically a genie-in-a-bottle retelling set in contemporary China, mixed with several similarities to Disney's Aladdin. Speaking of which, I can't believe it's been about 9 years since my friends at Musical Theater Village did their own production of Aladdin, where I played the Sultan, and it was before the show went to Broadway, by the way. Also to note, I think the humor in this movie is pretty good too, and it's also pretty clever, cute, and charming as well. And that's basically all I got for Mustang notes. So let's move on to the characters and the voice actors who brought him to life. Our main character, Din Song, is voiced by musician Jimmy Wang, who played Ling in the 2020 live-action remake of Mulan. Din is a young college student who works as a deliverer, but he has been cutting school recently. He hopes to reunite with Lena Wang after being separated since their childhoods. In my eyes, while Din does seem to go through a pretty rough life, he does seem like a very protective, kind, and fun-loving young man. Next is the titular Wish Dragon, Long, voiced by John Cho, whom has been in Big Fat Liar, the Star Trek reboot trilogy, The Tale of Princess Kaguya, and Over the Moon. Long is a cynical but all-powerful Asian dragon capable of granting 3 wishes to whoever holds his jade teapot. Kinda like a genie in a way. Also, Long has the ability to take human form in order to blend in with the crowd, and he hopes to go to the spirit world. Anyway, I find Long to have a very inflated ego, and he can also be pretty arrogant and impatient at times. But he does seem to become fascinated by the marvels of modern-day Shanghai, due to him being trapped in a jade teapot for 1,000 years. Also, I thought his backstory was really shocking. While being a dragon, Long is tasked with serving 10 masters by granting each one 3 wishes, along with the assignment of learning the true meaning of life. Next we come to Din's childhood friend and love interest, Lena Wang, voiced by Natasha Loy-Bordizzo, whom was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Sword of Destiny, The Greatest Showman, and she'll soon be in Star Wars Ahsoka. In my opinion, Lena is a beautiful young lady, and I like the fact that she and Din have known each other since they were kids, compared to Aladdin and Jasmine, who have known each other since their late teens. Also, I think Lena is a very protective and tough character. Also, while living a rich, lavish life, she suffers from a lot of responsibilities and expectations. Lena's father, Mr. Wang, is voiced by Will Run Lee, whom was in the James Bond movie Die Another Day, the 2012 Total Recall remake, Spy, and San Andreas. Wang is the reason why Lena and Din have been separated for a decade, due to him becoming a wealthy businessman, and during those years, he's been giving Lena everything he wanted her to have. But at the same time, he's been unintentionally isolating and burdening her with obligations to preserve their family image. Plus, Wang has been neglecting her by not being there for special moments of Lena's life, such as her birthdays, and he speaks to her through a tablet computer and reminds her to mingle with other rich and wealthy people in order to secure connections. However, for some reason, Mr. Wang's business and fortune has been failing, and he was in danger of becoming bankrupt and leaving Lena without money, which leads him to become desperate for a solution. So he seeks out the legendary jade teapot, which contains the dragon Long, who grants wishes, and he hires some criminal thugs to find and deliver said teapot to him. Finally, we come to the true villain of the movie, Pockets, voiced by Aaron Yu, whom I remember from Disturbia and Friday the 13th, 2009. Pockets is the leader of a group of henchmen hired by Mr. Wang to retrieve the jade teapot that Din possesses. I find this guy to be a really dangerous and self-absorbed man who would do anything to defeat his enemy. He never quits his work, and he always wins. Also, I found it very twisted when Pockets betrays Mr. Wang by taking the jade teapot for himself and wishing for the ability to turn everything he touches into gold. And now let's move on to my final words. Overall, Wish Dragon is a pretty decent animated film from Sony and Netflix. While it may have a lot of similarities to Aladdin, I still found the movie to be pretty charming and entertaining. The CGI animation is amazing, the characters are memorable and pretty likable, the voice acting is great, and I think Chris Applehans did a pretty good job for his directorial debut. Also, I really hope that this movie gets a DVD and Blu-ray release soon. I mean, if the Mitchells vs. the Machines can get one, and Vivo is getting one this April, surely this movie could. As for my rating, I'll give it a 71% out of 100. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to join me next time as we move away from Sony and onto the Marvel Cinematic Universe for my final Chinese-related blog, at least for this month, by the way. Mustang Power.